On the count of five, four, three, two, one, we are live again. And today we have an exciting guest with us, Matthew. Matthew is the CEO and founder of PropTech Connect, which is on its way to build Europe's Europe's largest prop tech conference with over 3,000 people attending under one roof. So it's a massive, massive undertaking, and just 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 by the sheer knowledge that somebody is attempting this fills you with pride, and that's why I thought I should invite Matt over and talk about what goes behind running a conference like this, because running conferences are not easy. You could actually fall flat on your face if you don't do the right things, and you are not able to pull it through. And Matt has had some experience in the past, which got him the knowledge on how to run successful conferences, and that's exactly why I thought I have Matt on this podcast and talk about the business of conferences, what goes into building a successful conferences, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, how do you promote an event like this, how do you sell an event like this, what are the things that you should avoid doing, what's the planning, what's the team that goes into building something of that sort. So Matt is not prepared with all of that, so we'll just have a casual conversation. I will ask a lot of questions that I'm naturally curious about, and we'll see how much Matt can contribute to those questions. So Matt, give us a bit about your background. I know you were into this business of running conferences. In fact, you said last time that you bought distress conferences and made them profitable. Maybe a bit a background on that one would be good.
So yeah, for sure. So the company that I was part of, basically, and they actually deserve effectively all the credit, because they would, in some cases flip conferences from a potentially distressed to making it one of the largest business conferences in the Nordics or in Europe. They would launch conferences at lightning speed. I mean, lightning speed, 3 events in 1 year.
Mhm.
To even, I think now they've started to slow down and consolidate and take a firmer footing. But some of the things they did do were truly remarkable. I mean, even just thinking now, we've got 8 months until our event, and while things are going well, I couldn't imagine doing it in two months. Boom. But they did that repeatedly. So these guys are really, really the conference masters. And anything I've learned has really been from these conference masterminds. So my experience and my, I suppose, passion when it comes to conferences really stems on the content side. And there is a lot more to content. There is a lot more to conferences and to leading and growing a conference venture. But I do wish to say that all of the knowledge really actually stems from me just really studying these two mentors. Really, this one mentor, and all the things that he was concerned with, all the things, and of course we're going to be talking about that over the next 20 minutes. But all the things he was concerned with, and how to really scale. I mean, so at the time there were 7 conference ventures, all successful. You hear the story. 97% of founders fail.
Right.
That's not
applicable here.
That's not all companies except B2B media companies. Those are 100% win. No, that is that is how it is. 90% of companies, industry agnostic, they fail. And this guy on his for his conference verticals were so bulletproof and aggressively. I mean, his process for even the team and getting the right team involved was fantastic. The synergy he had with business and his conferences. I mean, I really admire the guy. I think we are going to talk about some of, I don't want to call them secrets, not really secrets, but we are going to talk about some sort of exciting things to think about, and what makes conferences so much fun.
See, if somebody has cracked this and is able to repeat success, okay, repeatedly, that means they they know the playbook that goes behind conferences, right? So there is definitely a playbook, because as you said, first of all, is conference a good business? I need to understand from you, is conference a good business?
Cool.
So uh,
Well,
if it were, um, I mean, I'm sure there is some truth in it, and also there are some fallacies there, because if that were true, then not you'd not have a lot of distressed conferences as well, isn't it? So help me demystify the business of conference. How profitable they are? Are they good money making businesses?
let me answer that question with a question. Okay. So let's say you have two teams, two rowing teams, okay? And team one has the best rowing boat that has ever been created, okay? It's beautiful and it's so fast and it is very clearly the best boat ever. And team two has an average rowing boat. But you've got the best rowers in the world versus a group of complete casuals, okay? Of course, the best rower doesn't really, the boat will make some difference, but the rowers are what's going to, are what's going to just completely obliterate the other team. And when you ask if a conference is a good business model, it's as good as, any business model. You have internet companies, you have all the sorts of software solution fintech companies and all the subsectors fintech companies. You have brick and mortar stores. To say, is it a good business model? I mean, it works at a business model, but I think what really makes or breaks a conference and potentially any business is actually the rowers or the team that can propel it into success, or can F around and let it drop into potentially not a success. So it's not necessarily, it's not a question of, the business model. I mean, look, the potentially the best salesman could sell anything to anyone at any price, theoretically, right?
Got it.
So by that logic, any business model is only as good as
Execution and
either
the team.
the marketing channel, the sales channel, and the product / execution of the business model or service. So with those three things in mind, then what actually creates all those three things? Well, those are all people. So then it's really just the people.
Just the people. Got it. So why don't we distill it further? So what it takes to pull off a really successful conference of any kind?
It's a very broad question, but I think it then goes back to the three component. I mean, this is one thing we learned from the conference entrepreneur who I was fortunate enough to work under in my last role. So he did something.
Sorry to interrupt you. Since you said it's a broad question, let's answer this question to somebody who has never run a conference and would like to attempt it for the first time. So
Right.
maybe then I have put the guardrails there.
Okay, so if you've never run a conference, and I'm about to tell you how to run a conference,
Yes.
that's what's going to happen?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's a question.
You're bound to
Well-
fail.
well-
you need network.
No, you don't need network. Not at all. I came into real estate with zero network, and we've gained 40 speakers in 3 weeks with zero network.
You need funding?
I did get funding, right? Because we did want to host a large scale event, and we knew what was required. But the great thing about conferences and B2B media, well, conferences really, is that they're a cash flow positive business. I mean, so what that means is you can actually pay for a lot of the event using money of sponsorship and tickets, and as you generate more hype, you're kind of building it using its own momentum. Okay, so that's but funding does keep some roofs over some heads and some foods on some plates, right? But that's not, it's not like just because an investor said, I would like to help you grow faster, because, doesn't mean it's the requirement. It was just a decision we made to go faster. So, going back to the question, I think it makes sense to address it from a top-down kind of high level first, right? So thinking about the fundamentals of what will make your conference venture successful. So first, I really go back to the two things. It will be either your team, your people, and the actual product. Okay, so we've talked. I mean, people could be an entire conversation on its own all evening, right?
But how many people?
Forever, honestly.
How many people would you need to build a conference of 500? Say I need a conference of 500. Okay, there's a new
Maybe
person.
one.
Was that maybe one?
You could do that alone.
No, that's not possible.
Of course it's possible. Of course it's possible. Well, let's go through the economics of that right now. If you want to build a 500-man conference, and let's say you give yourself 6 months, okay?
Yes.
So 500 attendees. How many speakers would you like? 50? That's a fair amount.
50. Okay.
A 1-to-10 ratio is good. That's pretty good, I think. And if you're doing panel sessions, you have 5 people. You might have 50 people at a time watching. Of course, people actually usually watch more than one session. They usually watch 2 or 3. So you can get 150 seats potentially filled, granted you have good speakers, of the 500. That's a healthy size auditorium of your 500-person event, and you constantly have sessions running. Okay, great. So 1 to 10 makes sense even with 500. You're going to need sponsors of the event, and you're going to need people to buy tickets.
But
you're going to need people.
The problem with sponsors is sponsors would not trust somebody who has never run a event before. That's a challenge. You would agree, right?
Well, ask yourself, what does a sponsor want?
Sponsors want a successful event.
Well, you want a successful event. A sponsor, what does he actually want? He wants, okay, let's say he has the solution, tech solution and whatever. He wants to sell his tech solution. That's actually the only thing he really wants. He might not even really give a shit if your success wins or not. He just wants to ensure that he gets an ROI on whatever he might spend in a sponsorship. So, let's say his tech solution might be a 20,000. I mean, HubSpot even can cost people 50,000 a year. His tech solution might be cheap, half the price of HubSpot, 25,000 a year. He's cheap, okay? How much is his sponsorship actually going to be on a 500-person event? 5 grand, 10 grand, maybe? Well, you can almost ensure that he gets his 10 grand via what you have to offer, right? How, you can get some of the best speakers, some of the biggest target accounts he could even want. You can just offer them a component for free. Say, look, you'll get in front of all the newest tech solutions in the world. I will provide all of them for you. All of the operational costs that goes into hunting down and trying to get around these issues of implementing any sort of technology into your gargantuan-sized business. I'm going to cut that down so hard, and in one day, you're going to see all the best solutions in the world in one day, speaking right to you. Not only that, but we will also get your one of your leaders, and he's going to even shape the way a lot of these guys think by standing on stage. Okay, so right there, you can even just give that for free. It's kind of a no-brainer if he's potentially in the, I don't know where you want to do your event. It sounds like you want to do an event, Ravi. So I'm going to tell you.
I have attempted an event and burnt my fingers. That's why it comes out of curiosity from my past failures.
Right. So a lot of it, you can provide so much value and get so many people in the game, in the conference, without money even being talked about yet. Okay. And in doing that, you've got something so valuable that now a sponsor wants to come and join. So you have, you're enabling 3 large organizations to talk about their experiences with adapting to changing market conditions in 2023. Okay, cool. The 4th person is seeing all of his target or her target accounts on one session. They will pay to sit on stage with their target accounts and talk about this problem that they know they can actually solve for those people. So the sponsors, it's you know how it is. It's similar to a nightclub. How do you get the first people into a nightclub? Well, it sounds bad to say this, but you actually use, well, you know the answer,
Yeah.
right? How do you get people to come to a nightclub?
Get some hot chicks.
Interesting. Okay, so you get some hot chicks to come to the nightclub. Now all of a sudden, everyone's coming to the nightclub. Well, how do you get hot chicks to come to the nightclub? Well, you just got to find out what hot chicks want. Yeah, music, whatever.
Drinks, ambience.
Yeah, drinks. Yeah. Great ambience. Create a great product.
Yeah.
Well, the conference game is completely the same thing. So you just got to get the hot chicks, and then ask whatever vertical you're in, who are the hot chicks? How do I get the hot chicks? And then, of course, the people who will spend money will come.
All right. So it's the chicken and eggs problem here. Okay. So you're talking
about it's not the chicken and egg problem, because the chicken and egg problem is a circle. This is just this is a lie.
Yeah. So I will tell you how it is. Okay. Since I've gone through this, so the sponsors need good speakers. They would often want, okay, the more popular the speaker is, okay, the more sought after the speaker is, the more popular the event is. Okay, so that's how it draws eyeballs.
Yes.
The speakers in one end would need, if the more popular the speaker is, the more inaccessible he or she is, right? So that means they would ask for who are the other speakers, and they would also ask for speaker fees and stuff like that. How do you negotiate that kind of conversation with speakers?
Well, anyone's going to negotiate a lot of things. So if they say, I charge, well, what you still know in your head, with the final product in mind, what he is getting out of it. Okay. Right. So you got to tell them. So, well, you will be presenting in front of 500 VP level people in whatever vertical you're in. And that is, of course, significant, and shifting the frame of mind of a large component of a vertical is significantly more valuable than what you've charged me, right? So it's up to, at that point, it's really up to them if they actually see that value. If they do, they're probably a good speaker anyway, because they actually know that they actually trust in themselves that they're going to be able to speak an exciting topic and influence people and generate something for themselves and their company or their industry.
Right.
And keep in mind, people want to positively affect their industry. Of course they do. No one goes into a conference like, I am going to sink prop tech once and for all. No one goes, people want to grow their space naturally. So that is, of course, more valuable than whatever they've charged you. So the speaker fee, I've never, yes, I've come across it. I've never had an issue with it. When it comes,
you never had an issue being the speaker fee.
We have never paid for a speaker in any vertical,
including keynotes.
Never.
And the reason being, the venue and the stage is so valuable for them that they cannot afford to miss not to speak, right?
For sure. And they'll respect it if you tell them we don't operate on pay for play, right? And they actually, that kind of strikes a positive chord, because they think, well, there is some integrity here in the value that I'm about to provide. You say, yeah, well, okay, they just gave me the 1,000. They gave me the 100,000. Go fly. They don't even. It's a different type of event.
Got it.
You're not trying to just sell products to your attendees. and make a little bit of cash on the side. You're really you should really think about it, trying to grow your vertical, trying to grow the pie itself.
Got it.
And you've got the tools to do so. That's what makes conferences so exciting.
Got it. So for to entice them, you need to make the conference valuable. And how you make the conference valuable? By showing the number of attendees of their target audience. Okay, of the relevant. They have to be relevant. That these attendees are from your industry. They are going to be there. We are gonna have so many speakers. So the other speakers also make the. I mean, I have seen people who fake it.
The root of your question, question results in an answer that says it actually comes down to the sale, and it comes down to sales. That's I can see where this question will go, and to answer your question, it will come down to sales. It will come down to finding out what the individual wants that you're in front of. That's what we do at PropTech Connect basically every day, and we're connecting people so behind the scenes. Every sponsor we talk to, every sponsor we sign, we ensure that they're going to have a fruitful event. It will happen,
and you're adding value even before the event begins, isn't it?
For sure. Well, we're setting up the biggest value out of their lives, but they, if they want to get in front of, I don't want to name companies, but if they want to get in front of XYZ, we will discount tickets and get 20 tickets at a discounted rate. We will ensure that happens. If a speaker wants to get in front of these certain attendees, it's actually not so easy to do on a 700-person stage, but we can get them in front of a 100-person stage and then invite people more privately to get them in front. So you can.
Got it. Okay. So you're being creative. You're being creative with your value to them.
Yes, and that's so fundamental, I think, to any client service business, because of course conferences are actually a client business. It's not like a festival or a nightclub. Every single person is part of a company that is your client.
Got it.
So it's
let's break down to the economics. Okay, so you're saying this person is not raising funds, and now he wants to make this financially viable. Okay, he's not even looking for making money. He wants just that this is financially viable. Okay, so there are two elements to it. One element is ticket sales, and the second element is sponsorship. Okay, how do you negotiate? What's the mix between the two, and how should one go about it?
Just to clarify, you want it to be financially viable, but you're not. So you just want it to break even. You want an event that breaks even.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you asked me how do you sell sponsorship and tickets?
I'm asking. So there are two avenues to make it financially viable, right? So you get sponsorship money, and then you get ticket money.
Yes.
How do you negotiate that balance between them, which covers the cost of the event?
How do you negotiate? So the balance might depend on the vertical. So, what you see in an event purely targeted at CFOs will have a very different profit makeup or revenue makeup on an event in terms of sponsorship and tickets compared to an event with insurance. Completely different. Insurance will might have huge amounts to spend on sponsorship and advertisement, but for a CFO niche, well, it's more that FOMO aspect. I don't want to be the CFO that didn't make it. I see this company, this company's here. Then those dominoes have fallen. So that an extra domino will fall as well, and it's more, and people are willing to spend more on a ticket. So you can't really quantify. You can't really quantify what's optimal for all conferences because it's vertical specific, but you might not even go for a vertical. You might even go for some kind of niche. It could be such that when you start out, you're giving out lower cost tickets, okay? And later down the line, free tickets aren't an option anymore. It really depends on your strategy, what the event looks like. There could be good events and bad events, but there's no right way I can imagine someone who is watching this will be saying in their head, "There is a right way." But truly, if you're talking an event on 500 people, it depends on who those 500 people are, and there's no actually right answer on the revenue makeup, I guess.
Got it. Let me ask you one more question, which is very, very important.
Are you in London?
I'm in Munich.
In Munich. Okay. Oh yeah, I saw you were at Munich Re.
Yes, that's correct.
So just curious, did you ever hear of the InsurTech Insights event?
Which event? InsurTech? No, InsurTech. No, I was not.
I think it was. So this is just a testament to how fast they scale conference companies, like so quickly. I noticed you were. How long ago were you at Munich Re?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay, so COVID time.
During COVID time, peak COVID time.
So the thing is, there are not too many conferences during a period where there are no conferences. But so okay, that's a testament to how fast the people I've kind of learned from can scale events. From a 2-year break with no events, they did one very small ones prior. No events. They shifted strategy. They went fully digital. As soon as the events open up, the one thing they were made sure of is they are going to be the event outside the first event. So that feeling, this is so genius, actually. That feeling of, you haven't had contact with another person for years properly. You've only had business meetings in front of your 17-inch, 15-inch, and 13-inch monitor. And all of a sudden, boom, your hand makes contact, your eyes lock with another person. That feeling is almost euphoric. And they made sure that they were going to be the conference that did that. I think, thinking in this way is so much more crucial than thinking how much percentage ticket sales, how much percentage sponsorship sales. Thinking how can we actually extract ultimate value or deliver ultimate value to
value and euphoria, because people are coming for an experience also. It's not just meeting people. So how can you create that experience is important, isn't it?
Yeah, precisely. And 2 years ago you were at Munich Re. Since then, they hosted 2 4,000 person events.
Wow.
Maybe more. And now this year doing 2 5,000 person events.
Wow.
3 maybe. I genuinely that's how they do it, because they only think about do that thing.
So as I said, I'm bringing back the focus. That is not the benchmark. Okay, Munich Re is loaded. So I'm looking here at, again, bringing back the focus. The focus is, so you want to sell 500 tickets, and there is an interesting phenomena on how tickets are sold in conferences. Tickets are never sold when they open. They are never uniformly sold in the next 4 months. That 1/3, say, let's look at 6 months. Okay, so 1/3 is 2 months. 2 months does not mean you will sell 1/3 of your tickets, isn't it?
The vast majority do come at the end. There's a Pareto distribution.
Builds in. That is what makes you anxious, because majority of your tickets are not sold. What's the pattern like? Is there a pattern? Is this something that you have?
It's pretty close to a Pareto distribution. So the first 80% will see 20% of the tickets, and then the final 20% will see 80% of the tickets. What's important to I'll give you a nice trick. Okay, you don't need to sell a ticket to know that whatever company is coming, because you can just say, look, we are reaching out to a large component of the industry, but we'd love to see you there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to reserve 2 tickets for your company. Would you like to hold this reservation, or shall we just give it to name competitor here? No. Please reserve it. Okay. Then all the reservations. I mean, this is the oldest trick in the book. This is register your interest, right?
To fill your attendees, and you're giving them for free, right?
No. You've just basically registered interest of 500 companies. Okay, now it's time. Okay, look, now, hey, everyone is looking. All these companies are in. Okay.
Right.
We need to make payment for your 2 tickets. Remember back then you were reserving these 2 tickets. We're ready to give them away. All these companies are part of it. Would you like to be part of it too or not?
Right.
Of course they do. Yes, you've so it's, I mean, registering interest is like, how old is registering interest? Registering interest is as old as it's free, just pay shipping.
Got it. Got it. Very, very common. Just 2 questions to end with. One is, what do you do with promotions? Okay. How do you generate buzz and curiosity so that the tickets sell? And the second one is, and I'm just blanking, very important one, I'm blanking. Why don't you talk about promotions while I think of the last question? Yeah,
Pardon, sorry?
last. So yeah, I was, it just slipped my mind, but it's back. Um, I've seen conferences where they cover the cost of the conference from the sponsorship money, and everything that they sell through tickets is bonus. That's the money that they make as profits. Is that
Not,
how much truth there is to this?
I don't think about it like that. I just don't. I really don't. I just don't think about it like that.
Okay,
I
I mean,
don't
this
want to
is
go in. I don't want to go into our financials and how we're going to profit and things, but I can tell you now that's not. That's almost like a myth rule. Not that it will or won't work, but that's like a rule that doesn't really. It doesn't need to be that way. As in, we will just cover the costs with this and then just make some money on tickets. That's you can remain cash flow positive. Okay, so. But just saying we're going to cover the cost with sponsorship and make money on tickets. You can do that, but that's not necessarily a Bible rule to swear by.
and the reason I'm asking this is because since 80% of the tickets are going to be sold at the end, if you have not covered the cost yet, then you are going to have sleepless nights in the last 20% of as your event is approaching nearer, and you're not sure if you're able to sell the tickets, and if you have put in your own money, and for a first time person,
Why wouldn't you sell the tickets?
why wouldn't you sell the ticket? So you are looking at an optimistic angle that you should be able to sell
No.
tickets.
Like, just, okay, ask yourself, what do you need to do to sell a ticket? You know?
Yeah, I mean the quality. I mean you should be able to create a good buzz around it. You have a good
Okay,
story.
so strong marketing
Strong
channels.
marketing, yes, strong marketing channels.
So do that. It's 500 tickets. I mean, you could literally have 500 tickets with a good salesman on the phone, even at a, let's say, 1% success rate. And keep in mind, you're doing already all of what I've just said with registering interest and all this and everything.
Got it.
And picking up on the phone, you can make, if you had to, 5,000 calls. You don't, when you sell a ticket, don't even do one. We'll get 5 of you. We really love your company so much. We're so excited about the way you're shaping this industry. Here's really what we're willing to do for you in favor of building a great relationship going forward. I would like to get 5 of you guys in, and we're going to give you a half price on a group discount. I'm only need to do it now. Now it's like 100 tickets, really. And you've got all these great teams and everyone's mingling and it's this wonderful event and you're pushing forward the industry. Like 500 tickets is so doable. I'm telling you, you can have one person do a 500 person event.
This is the
I've
best.
seen, I'll actually tell you right now, there was this amazing guy, this amazing Danish guy. He was a student and basically solo sailed 90% of an event, an HR event that ended up being hyper successful.
This is the best part of this interview. I mean, the last bit.
15. It was 1,500. It was 1,500 people, if I'm not mistaken. It was one person. Had to have a bit of help right at the end because you have a huge inbox of people and of your attendees and potential attendees and things, and that, when that gets like 500 emails a day, okay, I can't now. I'm getting too spread over, and I'm literally doing 20 hours a day on this. I'm going to need to outsource or pull someone else in. Outsourcing is fine. You can outsource really, today every employee at a business is almost bionic, because you're not just you're you plus outsourcing to people who have done this or done responses a million times. Even in many other markets, there are companies built on responding to emails cheaper and better than you hiring someone and doing that. So there's so many solutions. When you say like you're not sure you'll sell the 500, to me that doesn't even make sense, because you know what the attendee wants and you know what to do to sell a ticket. Just do that.
But no, this comes from a person who's about to sell 3,000 tickets. So I would give a lot of merit to your wisdom. So thanks for sharing that. I think
it is worth noting that we haven't sold all 3,000 yet, and the process for selling the tickets has not been created by myself. I really cannot take any credit for defining this process. And of course, there was another component to your question that was really interesting, I think has a lot of value, and it was around promotion.
Right.
Okay. And there are so many methods to marketing: social media marketing, email marketing. Both of those will be serious weapons. I think those are the main two. I wouldn't spend too much on ads. If your product is good and you've put your ad in front of the right person, then chances are they will buy. But I wouldn't spend too much on ads, because I think email marketing, LinkedIn marketing is really effective.
So for a B2B, yes. For a B2B,
create a large inbound marketing funnel. It's the basic stuff. It's not create a large inbound marketing funnel. I mean, there is some methodology to building a subscriber base of 200,000 subscribers in 10 months. How do you increase your subscriber base by 20,000 a month? That comes from the content you're doing. That comes from your method of qualifying email leads and playing safe around GDPR and onboarding leads and generating the right information to them and getting the best content. But I'm assuming if you're doing an event, you're already writing the best content on your emails and for your potentially providing insights or potential news, if that's part of your inbound marketing funnel. Depends how you choose to do it. Depends if you choose to use everything and spread over, who knows? But I'm assuming you're doing all of that correctly. Then you can build a large inbound marketing funnel with thousands of subscribers. Right. And then, of course, when it comes to selling the tickets after they've been warmed up and you've been interacting with your content for the last 10 months and selling, pulling the trigger and executing on tickets in the end. Granted, these are the people who have registered interest anyway. So it kind of fits together to a final, so that's why, like, when you say, are you sure you're going to sell 500 tickets? Everything you're doing is to sell the 500 tickets. Otherwise, why were you doing it?
Got it. Oh, that's very important again, right? So because everything is towards marshalling your resources towards that outcome. Excellent. I thought this is very, very, you built a lot.
So tell me, what event do you want to do?
I haven't figured it out yet. As I told you, I wanted to run that event that I shared with you. It was a
what vertical was that in?
Creators Conference that was meant to be last year, but we could not because it was.
What actually happened?
We ran out of money because we could not get sponsors' interest. So the quality of the event was falling because we were not able to ramp up the engines on the sponsor side, on the speaker side, because when we are talking to speakers, we were having this event in Lisbon, so we wanted speakers from all over.
Why Lisbon?
Just after pandemic, Lisbon had this feel. Lisbon is one of the sexiest cities in Europe. It's a sea, sun, sand. It offers, and Lisbon has this feel. We wanted to make the destination attractive for both, and we wanted to keep that in summer, so it's attractive for both the speakers and the attendees who want to. Because people usually go to a conference not just for the conference, but also for sightseeing around the conference.
So, not necessarily. If that's a rule you built your entire event on, You know.
Yeah, that
Like,
was an
okay,
assumption.
so actually, so that's a really interesting point. So are people coming for the event, or are people coming on a holiday and it just so happens their event is there? That's that,
Yeah,
or
we
not as
wanted
black and white as that, but you
we
know,
wanted to make that case hypothesis that people come to an event and they have a good excuse, because I would speak to speakers and they would be very attracted to the proposition that's happening in Lisbon. They said, "Oh, I've never been there. I know it's a great city. Would love to be there." And also,
did they get penciled in on the call?
did they get what?
Did they get locked in to speak on that call?
Yeah, yeah, but no, but then they would ask about how much am I being paid for that and stuff like that. So they would want to cover their at least travel expenses and a hotel and stuff like that.
Well, that's the problem right there. You've literally defined your own problem. They have to pay. Like, why don't you just then reach out to all the entrepreneurs or creators in Lisbon so they don't have to do the travel, or do it in a place where people don't have to travel much? London. I
Exactly.
mean, we're doing ours
That's
in
what I'm
London because all the largest companies, or a large majority of the largest companies are in London. Of course, we're going to go for them first, as a low-hanging
saying.
fruit. So, if your biggest problem was people traveling,
Yes, that
a
was the
lot, a
biggest
lot I
problem.
think I think a lot of the issues you ran into with an event are are not are not issues that I uniquely would solve. I think if you were to give it another try, which I honestly think you should do, um, you know, pick it in a place where that's the happening place there. Not that people have to go to have fun there. That's where it's happening, and then you can make everyone, after you've got that initial buzz, which is actually what you want. Then it'll all start to fall in.
Hmm.
Um,
I
I
thought
mean,
that was the point.
momentum is really important with events.
And since this was a B2C conference, people were sensitive to spend money first on ticket, second on travel, third on
Why
accommodation.
were you Why were you shooting for a B2C conference?
So you're triggering the right questions. So this is where we all went wrong. So it was B2C. It was Lisbon, and it was lack of people were price sensitive. So they had three costs to take care of: travel, ticket, and accommodation. So yeah, you're right. So you just answered my questions.
So
uh,
I guess, like, to be fair, I got super lucky because I joined a company of conference building machines, I would call them, and they, they either had done all the thinking or had kind of made all the mistakes. I don't know if they made mistakes, but when I joined, it was like, we're doing B2B because businesses have such a strong commercial interest to be there, and if their competitors are there, they can't afford not to be there, so they are willing to pay for tickets. So, when you hear that as part of when you're talking with a CEO of how you're doing your event, mistakes like going just straight to B2C or whatever, we wouldn't make them. So I got to give them the credit. I can't take the credit for these kind of things.
I get
They
that.
honestly.
That's exactly why I invited you, because you have been part of that industry who have cracked this. They have the playbook and stuff like that. But hey, Matt, thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with me, and I am also being mindful of your time here. There was a
This was
lot
fun. When
lot,
you
lot
when you come to PropTech Connect, let's get a beer. We have a really cool, like, cocktail. I don't know if you drink or not. We have a really cool, like, cocktail bar in the event. I'll show you the floor plan after the call. It's really awesome.
excellent.
And yeah, I hope to see you there.